Hello.
Hello. Hello, how are you?
Are we recording this time?
Allegedly, yes, we are
Okay.
recording. Um, hi.
Who's to say?
I didn't just accidentally go live and we went into
No.
the whole intro
No.
bit. That would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
Not in this economy.
It's been a hell of a day.
Uh,
It's been a hell of a day.
it's 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 been one hell of a summer.
It's been one hell of
You ever just like I woke up today and I thought
mm-hmm.
it's the last day of summer.
It's in the air. You can feel the seasons changing. It's almost fall.
Oh yeah, my tattoo's getting raised up a little bit and I'm like, "Oh, there's a storm coming in like
Yeah.
3
My
days."
knee started hurting.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Exciting. Um, well, hello everybody. We're here. The end. It's the last one.
Yeah, we're really here this time.
No more fucking around.
No more no more accidents. No more daylight savings time shenanigans.
Getting a text from you with four sad faces and then book club question mark was
book book club in my mind you were 10 minutes, you were like
I,
almost 20 minutes late to book club, and I was
with
so I
no
didn't know where you
message,
were.
nothing. I know that's not
Mm-mm, you
like
weren't
me.
answering my Discord calls.
I tried calling you here.
We're in different time zones now because of daylight savings, and neither of us realized. So
No, not at all. Well, I think because like I was thinking about it, and I'm like, no, but we're on the same time zone because weren't we just so excited about that? And I'm like,
hmm
maybe we were that excited about it when daylight savings
for
changed 6 months ago.
for yeah, for half the year same time zone, everything's great. For the other half, hell and chaos.
Just trash, honestly.
hmm
Arizona doesn't
hmm
change, and part of me wishes it did so that it'd be consistent,
hmm
but then I appreciate never having to change. So,
I hate it because like half of my appliances change and half of them don't.
oh, oh, that's
You know what I
annoying.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's like every clock in my house reads a different time.
How would you ever know the truth? You're just gaslighting yourself through time, honestly.
Mhm. Mhm. No one knows what time it is. It's a social construct.
That is true.
Anyway.
But
Mhm.
speaking of social constructs, let's talk about the
Summer.
end. Summer and the end. So
Yeah.
this
We
episode
brought it all back.
we're bringing it back, baby. We're gonna have
Mhm.
two different parts to this video, with a self-inserted ad break in the middle.
Yep.
I would say halfway,
Yeah.
but I have no idea how long it'll take us to do anything. So
Halfway.
halfway, but
It's definitely not halfway through the slides we have prepared.
no.
So
And this might be the best. Well, I shouldn't say the might. This is going to be the like I'm going to be the happiest with this video because we did a lot of like work on it. We actually did prep work. It took us 13. It took me 13 episodes, but I figured out maybe planning is good,
right. Mhm.
and that's what I learned this
We
summer.
figured out we figured out a lot this summer. Yeah, was that the
So
only thing,
a
sweetheart?
little bit, yeah. I mean, I
Mhm.
learned a few other things. I also like met someone. Her name's Penny. And everything changed after I met Penny. So
She's right over there.
oh, I'm imagining her now, looking cute. So
Yeah.
perfect.
Looking real looking like Penny. That's how she looks.
Penny is Penny. All right,
Penny is Penny.
Penny is Penny. Okay,
No one's ever said Penny was a cute dog, but
she is. She's got a little Sharpay in her, just the tiniest bit. At least to me, I like it. I like her.
just a smidge of smush face. Anyways,
Cute's in the
we're not
zone.
here to talk about my dog. We're here to talk about
The end.
book club. We are here to talk about
Book 13.
this book 13 series of unfortunate events. The end of our summer book club.
It's been a long time. 13 books.
It's been a long summer.
You're right, it has. This book was really, really good. Um, it's
Yeah.
it's tight, it's nice, and I guess is like,
I
yeah,
I think it's a good ending to the series. I think it's I wouldn't say the ending is like super satisfying or like happy, but that's not what I would expect from this series. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if Lemony Snicket had ended it with like they all live happily ever after, they all get married and have kids, that'd be super like disingenuous to
Yeah,
like
they
the
named their
tone and the
kids
overall.
like after
Yeah,
other characters in Harry
Count
Potter.
Olaf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they named their kid
yeah.
Olaf, exactly.
They named they named their kids Hermione Olaf, Baudelaire.
So, Hermione, Hermione, Olaf, Raven, Darkness, Dementia Way,
For
Baudelaire.
Raven, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You understand.
I've been there. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this book's really good. We meet up with the kids as they, can you two not fight? As they went down they went off the top of the Hotel Denouement, with Count
Mm-hmm.
Olaf, wash up on an island that is filled with rules, and everybody wears white, and
Cult.
a very cult, very cult like, and
Mm-hmm. Not cult like it is just a cult.
true, yeah, that's fair, yeah, it is because they just Ishmael does shit, blah blah blah. They're culty. They take everything to the
Ishmael.
Arboretum. They all lie,
Yeah.
and this last safe space
Ishmael's a
isn't.
real safe. Ishmael's a real son of a bitch.
He really is with his clay feet, leaving little
Mm-hmm.
footprints. There's two sets of footprints. Well, there's one set, and they're his. That's
One
important.
set of footprints.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is not in this book.
No, he's carrying Jesus, Ishmael, because like
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to force anybody.
You know, there are some books that contain Jesus Christ of Nazareth. This, not one of them.
Mm-mm.
In case you were wondering.
This is your version of the end not the King James version of the end?
No. I'm Roman Catholic, so it's like we have to have it in like the Latin.
Of course.
Yeah.
So this was an exciting book. Okay, you two out. Why are you? Sorry. They are
okay.
deciding to play in the area with chords.
Right.
And I don't know how they're doing it. Like Zuki just.
Directly on top of your feet.
I wish that would be better. My feet are not near the chords, so I would personally maybe near the feet. There's so much. I shouldn't say there's so much about this book. There's a lot of answers that we get, and a lot of answers we don't. So I was curious,
Okay.
like we do get to find out a lot more about the Baudelaire parents, arguably the most that we've ever found out about them. When they're in the tree,
Yeah.
which
And
is very exciting for me.
we get more on Beatrice's relationship with like Lemony, and that's very interesting to me to get like stuff about the story that's going on top of the story.
The story in the story. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that B plot or C plot, I think. One of them.
I'm dyslexic. You can't expect me to keep up with all those
No,
letters.
I won't. What were your thoughts on speaking of Beatrice, the final the final note of book 13,
Beatrice.
with Beatrice
Yeah,
being the name of
so
the boat.
being the name of the boat, and so the Baudelaires they come into possession of a child. Kit Snicket has a baby. She dies, and she tells them, name baby after one of your parents. They name her Beatrice, and it's the last word of this book. Yeah, it made me really emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really good way to end the book with just the word Beatrice, because I think it obviously has so much significance to Lemony that he would think that that's a climactic and like full circle note to end this story on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it takes that like thematic element of like in universe, if you've been following along, like Lemony is also a member of VFD. We get to Kit Snicket is his sister, Jacques was his brother, RIP. And like there's even that moment in the penultimate peril where like they could have gone with him and they chose not to.
Hmm.
And with him writing these letters to Beatrice, which there's also a whole other side book called Letters to Beatrice, I believe, or the Beatrice
Right.
letters.
Yeah.
um the like out of like love and respect for this woman and whatever happened between them, like he feels responsible enough to at least like track down what happened and document, what happened to these
Yeah.
kids.
It becomes clear over the course of the books that this is a man documenting the happenings of his ex-girlfriend, the woman he loved, children, as they go on their misadventures.
Yeah.
And so for him, the story very clearly starts and ends with Beatrice in a very literal way. Um, so it felt very appropriate that uh, it ended with Beatrice's name.
Yeah, with a nice little bow on top of everything else, and in a way
Hmm.
too, it like kind of like
And
encapsulates with like a new beginning. The boat, like it was taped over names with
right.
everything, and then with the new kid being named Beatrice, that kind of like,
Hmm.
oh, how funny, it's
That ties.
cyclical.
It's yeah, it's cyclical because when Beatrice died, another one was born. And this her story is just beginning, and it begins on a boat named Beatrice.
Fucking, I'm on a boat, and Sonny's just rapping and shit. It's
Yeah, Sunny speaking full sentences
oh,
in
that's right.
chapter 14.
Oh yeah,
That made
hidden
me really
chapter.
emotional.
So
Yeah,
much
so
growth.
this book has 13 chapters and then like an epilogue kind of that's chapter 14, where we see the Baudelaire orphans leave this island with their new baby, and Sunny speaks like full sentences in it, and it makes me really emotional
Mm,
because it's been such like a clear growth for her over the course of these 13 books. Like in book 1, when she basically spoke no words
mhm.
to like learning to like walk on her own
Right
and
outside
like
the Vile
speaking in more
Village.
complete sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and learning to speak in more complete sentences, and that moment on Slippery Slope where she's like, I'm not a toddler, I'm not a baby anymore, I'm a young girl. um and then now where she's not an adult clearly, but she's speaking in full sentences and her siblings don't have to translate for her. um that made me really emotional.
Yeah. It's really cool to
It's
see the like I think there's like a year between chapter 13 and chapter or like the end of chapter 13 and the beginning of chapter 14. Because they're waiting for the next
yeah,
shelf to get off the island. They have to wait for the tide to come up once a year. Um,
right, so it's been at least a year.
yeah. And she like Sunny is probably the one character who has shown the most amount of growth because of I mean just naturally for that exact reason. But like we've
I'd
seen
say it's
her grow so much, and it's surprising that even in the last book there's still a lot of growth that she goes through that like you didn't even think like I didn't it didn't hit me actually until you mentioned it that like yeah no you're right she was using
I
full
didn't
sentences and like is like an adult a person.
not an adult, but bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if she grew the most, but I definitely think she grew the most obviously, if that makes sense. Where it's like Klaus and Violet's growth is more tied to like their emotional state because they're raising a child now.
Mm.
Um, but that's more subtle than like Sunny's speech patterns. So
Mm-hmm.
those are my thoughts.
uh I had two different I had a quote I wanted to share, an
Hmm.
illusion that I
I have a couple more notes.
yeah
Yeah, that wasn't my thoughts like
no
in total.
this
That was my thoughts on
yeah
Sunny.
no I get you. I was
Okay,
like trying
okay,
to
okay,
think of
okay,
like
okay,
how many
okay,
things do I have left because I'm like
okay, okay, okay.
I didn't write my stuff down. I had a couple things written. One thing that I did think was really interesting, that I didn't notice
Hmm.
until getting to chapter 14 is that the book ends with like the regular um like, you know, there's the editor, there's Brett Hellquist, Lemony Snicket. You then, you know, you get the letter to the editor. The end of the end can be found at the end of the end, and you then turn another page, and much in the exact same style as the beginning of every book, we get chapter 14, and then a list of all of the books with the end, then chapter 14. Chapter 14 is considered book the last, which then made me go, wait, what do you mean? Go back to the very beginning of book 13, the end, and it says book the 13th. And like, it was, I never caught that until you had like mentioned, like we started talking about chapter 14, I noticed it. So that's really clever.
Really cool.
Yeah. On page,
Sneaky.
yeah, little,
Sneaky of Mr. Lemony.
he's, I mean, the books are filled with so much like real world allusions and references and little mysteries, stuff that's never supposed to get solved, stuff that does get solved, and like just something simple like
Stuff that you
that.
would only.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
fun. Like, fuck, I would have noticed
think-
it.
I think there's a lot that you would get out of like a second or third reading from these books. You know what I mean? Like in rapid succession and not, I don't know, 10, however, 15, however many years it's been since we have done our rereads.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I think that you would get more out of like putting together the mystery and getting better answers. Is that that's what you're saying, right?
well, you just pick up on more stuff like the VFD references in earlier books
Mm,
if you reread the whole series like a couple of times over.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Trying to, because I was like, wait a second. I'm like, it has been 15 years, so a lot of our like, oh wow, it's more like, hey, this brought us back to when we were kids. Great. And we got to work through all of that. That was an unintended side effect of 15 years. So,
Of me realizing a lot.
yeah.
That was fun. We had fun.
You ever just start telling a funny story from your past and then you realize, oh, that's trauma?
Uh-huh.
Lemony has. Lemony will.
Mm-hmm.
How many are did you what do you got? Or
Yeah, I've got a lot.
ready.
Let's talk about the one Ishmael quote that I wrote down, which is, "What did your parents know about surviving?" Real son of a bitch move, Ishmael. Real, real something to say that to a group of orphans, Ishmael. Insane. It's left Steph speechless.
I didn't even register that when I read it. I don't even I think I totally missed that. Like I can't believe he said that.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. It's right when they're like, he's on the boat and he's trying to like get the islanders to leave, and the orphans are like, "You won't survive because the Medusa mycelium has been released." And he goes, "Well, or like,
Yeah, like what would you know?
they bring up like our parents." No. So the orphans bring up, our parents made the tree with the horseradish apples. We can all survive. And he's like, "Well, what do your parents know about surviving?" You can't say that to people. You can't say that to anybody.
No, that's it.
You can't say that to orphans.
I mean,
that's evil.
Ishmael, like, damn, bitch. Like, fuck. That was a cutting thing. Like, ooh, good read. Except, you're literally making people like you're about to send them off to their deaths. Like he's literally got an apple in his pocket to neutralize it, and he's about to show up wherever he's going with a boat full of dead people.
Yeah. About the end of the book, I did cry when I finished reading this book. There wasn't like one particular moment that like made me super emotional, but it was just like finishing this series again and like knowing that like this book club was now like on its way to being over made me cry a little bit.
Yeah. Oh.
Made me sad. That's why, hence the sad faces.
Yeah.
Sad face book club.
Book club.
Book club.
It was a lot reading through the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than I expected. in particular, I don't think it hit me until I closed the book. Like I was like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
I'm done. And then I was like, you're done. That's it. Like now we just got to do a video. And you know, we've been excited about other projects that we want to work on, and so you
Mm-hmm.
know, kind of like
No
no
spoilers.
spoilers. The excitement of that has been like pushing to get stuff done, and it would have gotten done a lot sooner, but I got a little distracted, and
We had a minute there.
yeah, we took a little you know, snack break, but like going through all of these books, like I can go into it on a different slide because we have a section for it.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but I found
We'll keep it.
yeah, which now that I mentioned that, the what I really enjoyed and found the allusions to like Garden of Eden, the snake, and that kind of stuff. I know we had talked about it a couple weeks ago when we were working on this, with like
Off camera.
yeah, off camera, offline. When they get to, so like all of the islanders stay on one part of the island, and Ishmael kind of just like recommends that people don't do things. Like he just is one of those people that just questions your intent. Like he just questions you, and he does.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I guess, and then peer pressures you into just doing like it's a passive
go with the flow.
manipulation. Yeah,
Right.
and
Very deeply fucked up.
absolutely. And like you know something's up with him pretty quickly. Like you're like
Right.
don't know about all this. But when they ultimately end up like I believe the VFD, when they find Kit Snicket, or they find the incredibly deadly viper, has washed up on the shores because everything washes up on the shores eventually. And
And that was huge. Seeing the incredibly deadly viper
yeah,
again.
ink
Loved
or
that.
inky, right? Or
Ink.
ink. So excited.
No Y.
No Y.
Ink. INK.
K and I backwards. Mm-hmm.
Kin. Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
No. But so like there's this part where they decide to go to the arboretum, and they realize that like it's this big building that like with this massive tree. You can see it on the back of the box set, and like there's literally apples growing on the tree. They're horseradish apples. Very cool. Yes, that's the one. That's the tree. And in a very cool kind of like literal way, like they go to this tree that has fruit, and there's like inside the tree, like you can actually go in it, and there's like a whole little like house in there that like
Yeah.
Ishmael has been like, when everyone goes and does stuff, he just pretends like his feet don't work, and then he just walks over to here and hangs out in there, like drinking tea, eating apples, writing in books, like all the stuff that they
It's a literal tree of knowledge that they find, where they find the book you can see in the picture on
the
screen,
self-insert,
and they start reading.
the lore, the canonical lore version of A Series of Unfortunate Events, which is their parents had
and
written.
they find like notes and journal entries from their parents when they lived on the island. They kind of figure out what's going on, and that the apples growing from the tree are actually horseradish apples. And they figure this out after the Medusoid mycelium has been like spread by Count Olaf. And so they are offered the apple by the incredibly deadly viper.
In a
Crazy.
Which we did not expect to see ink there. Like ink just showed up.
Just right.
Great writing, but also like it makes sense. Like everything ends up over there.
Great book.
With like just enough time.
Like it makes sense. Yeah.
But like what I think is really cool too is like to finish the Adam and Eve allegory is so they get the apple, and it's like, you know, they're given the fruit from the tree of knowledge, and it actually does save them, and it's good. But then when they go and they're trying to like be like, hey, like despite everything, like you should eat one of these apples, or like, you know, like, hey, like don't send everybody out there, like y'all are gonna die. But everyone is just so used to like not having to really think for themselves that in a very kind of like a little cheeky like dig on religion too, of like, and like organized religion and that groupthink where like, well, you know, the pastor said we shouldn't, so we just won't. And it's like, even though it's literally against your own self-interest to like continue to like operate with this guy, it's like he's done nothing to prove himself other than he's been there longer. So I thought it was a real cool, like, you know, the perversion of the story in the sense that like, you know, that could be, you know, what really happened is like, hey, no, like this, and it's like, nope, cast out, goodbye, but instead like cast to stay. And I thought it was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool moment. And like very unexpected too. Like these books have never really touched on religion in any way. So it was very just like, out of nowhere, and I thought it was very cool.
Yeah. Very like, because like he's been like, there was a, what was it, Shirley in Miserable Mill, where we were like, okay, Olaf. But at the same time, given the context of like the time of the books, like it wasn't totally like Count Olaf was disrespectful, but he was disrespectful all the time. So it wasn't like he was just hating on women. So like I will give them that, where it's like it was very consistent. And the only time Olaf does that, which is interesting.
Dress up as a woman?
No. Oh no.
He does it in this book.
Damn it, you're right. You're right.
He does it in this book too, to less effect. He pretends to be Kit Snicket, a pregnant woman, but he has like seaweed as hair, and so like no one buys it for a second. Which I don't know. Funny.
It's a good, I think it's a good bit.
I allow transphobia when it's funny.
Yeah, it has to be funny. It can't be the one joke, you know?
Right.
Well, like, because it's like, it's clearly like, it's so ridiculous of a ploy. Like, he's just gonna pretend, and like, they still have to convince me. Like, it could not be more obvious
and
that, like,
I think this book has a lot of moments that call back to other plot points in other books. And so I think that was kind of an allusion to Miserable Mill and Count Olaf's disguises in the past. So
that kind of like, no matter like, no matter where he is, he's gonna always have a disguise. He can always, like, he is pretty smart actually for how dumb he is.
He always has a plan. Yeah.
But like goes back into
high intelligence, low wisdom.
There it is. Low wisdom. And like 20 charisma in the worst way.
Right. He has advantage on all charisma checks.
For some reason. Just
for some reason. He took a feat or whatever. I don't think there's any feat that does that.
No. Well,
he's like, he's just cheating and like rolling it twice when the DM's not looking.
Absolutely. He's fudging his rolls constantly.
Yeah. Oh, it's another nat 20. Oh. These dice are so lucky.
Oh my god, it's so sweet.
I have a d20 on this desk.
Hell yeah.
No, I don't.
Damn.
I moved it.
So my favorite quote from this book is like related to this, which is why I can't believe I forgot that he dresses up as Kit Snicket, because on page 118 we get the funniest fucking quote in my opinion, because of just the sheer audacity. I've never been unkind in my life, Olaf said, running a bony hand through his seaweed. I'm nothing but a fairly innocent maiden with my baby full of belly. It's just...
baby full of belly.
I really hated that phrasing. Personally, it gave me a lot of ick, because like, ew, I just like I didn't need the visual. Baby full of belly. And I'm like, no, you're wearing a diving helmet. Like,
you've stuffed a pillow up your dress.
True.
Yeah.
Although now I kind of get your point too, of like, it is a little transphobic though. But he's a villain. There's a difference. He was a villain before he was transphobic. So
right.
It just adds to his villainy.
He's a villain and he is transphobic. While we're on this
Actually, I
point,
don't
there
think
were
he is.
two other moments.
Yes. I don't think Olaf is. I think like Lemony could be. Like the author could have written it better, but I don't think Olaf. I think Olaf's actually pretty open to stuff.
Pretty trans friendly.
Yeah, because like I mean, look at the henchman. There's such a variety. Like I don't think he's a positive force in the LGBTQI plus community, but like
Does Olaf get invited to Pride? Do you think?
no.
I think he does. I think Olaf is very queer. If we,
Yeah, I think he tears it up at Pride.
I
I think
think,
he's I don't think
um,
he's allowed at Pride because he causes that many
I don't think
problems.
right, but I do think Olaf has a certain je ne sais quoi, a je ne sais queer about him. Uh,
Yeah, there's something ain't right about that
sorry, that
boy.
made me laugh.
Little je ne sais queer. That is good.
Je ne, je ne sais queer. Uh,
That's really good. I'm gonna write that down so we can talk about it later.
I will, yeah, I will release a 30-page, in-depth queer reading of the series of unfortunate events where I talk about Count Olaf, the gay icon.
I mean, BK do
Um,
crime. He really did. He walks so we could
mhm.
run.
That costume in Vile Village, Detective Dupin.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
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 ooh.
ooh.
Nice little like. Oh, it's a little slimy and gross, and there's just something about it. You just want.
There's something about him. Like Gortash from Baldur's Gate 3. Uh, not what we're talking about.
No,
Not what we're talking about.
closely related, but
There
not
are,
fully.
in that I like them both. anyways, there are two other points where it's like, oh, this is like a callback to other books. And that's when Olaf is like in the very beginning of the book, they run into Friday, who's an islander, and she's just having none of Olaf's shit. And I think that was like a very good um what's the word I'm looking for?
Von der Lack, Green Bay.
Like dichotomy.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Dichotomy of how everyone else has reacted to Olaf in the fucking every other book leading up to this, where they give him the benefit of the doubt, they don't believe the orphans, yada yada yada. They let him do his whole shtick. He rolled fucking 19 plus 6 on his charisma check. Um, and Friday's just having none of it. And I thought that was very
Like he
like a refreshing moment.
right, yeah. And like her reasoning
Yeah.
for it was really simple, if I recall. Like it was
Right.
like
So he's like, well, he's not being nice. He's being kind of a dick. I don't want him on the island.
which
He can't come with us.
such a fucking mood.
I've banished him. Yeah. Very slay.
Top tier move. And
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree. Based Friday, and her mom is an asshole because pretty sure her dad's alive. And they just are
Yeah.
like,
Her mom.
no, I'm fine.
Yeah. Her mom fully lied and is like, your dad is dead, so we have to stay on the island. And he's fully just on the mainland.
Just chilling, vibing, thriving, as one does.
Having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Missing his wife and daughter.
Well, maybe. You'd think he'd wash up on shore.
Mm-hmm.
But
if he wanted to, he would. Ladies, if he wanted to wash on shore, he would.
Yeah. I wish he would
Anyways,
hold me the way he held that piece of driftwood, you know? Like
damn.
whew. Sorry. Sheesh.
Yeesh.
Gosh. That's kind of all the major thoughts I had about the book. Just yeah.
So much more.
You have more?
So
Okay,
much more,
cool.
baby.
Then take I'll let you take lead.
So much more.
I'm excited. That's all I had to
the
bring
other,
up. So
yeah, the other like thing that I was like, oh, this is like a reference to the other books, is when Olaf is dressed like Kit. He's like, I'm so nice. I'm a sweet little pregnant lady. And the orphans are like, you're a villain. And he goes, I might start acting villainous if you keep insulting me and insisting I'm wearing a disguise, which fans of the pod will know is the same threat he used in Reptile Room as Stefano. He was like, you know, if you keep insulting me, I might just do something villainous. I might do something rude. And in Reptile Room it worked and they were just like scared of him. And this time it doesn't. They've grown. They're not afraid of Olaf anymore. And so he has this moment and they go, eat shit and die king,
They say that
basically.
verbatim, just for
Yeah,
viewers at
in
home.
this
They say it.
right in the children. Ask me the page number. I know it. In this children's book, they go eat shit and die, old man.
The future is now. Kind of energy.
Now. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Okay.
I had no idea. Like I totally didn't make that connection. Like you look at
I'm
you
just
going
so
above and
aware.
beyond.
I'm a little.
You've been
I'm making connections.
you book
I'm drawing
clubbing,
conclusions.
you know, like you out here having a ball. Just
Having a really good time. We'll just go down the rest of my notes in order then.
okay.
On page 62, there's manatee slander. I think it's Friday's mom actually is like, my husband was killed by manatees. Manatees don't kill people. They're vegetarian. They don't hurt people.
Common misconception.
That's wild manatee slander. And if you know anything about manatees, perhaps a hint that Friday's dad is still alive because manatees don't kill people.
Oh, that's a really good connection. That's a nice little. You have some good trivia. You should make one of the Jeopardy games.
Yeah.
Because you'd have good questions. You'd have good questions on them.
I have good questions. They're all about manatees. Then I thought it was very funny that the tipping point for the orphans not joining the cult was that they had really shitty food, and then there was a burn about very flavorless diet. That was funny. Did laugh. Ha ha. Hee hee.
Hee tee, if you will.
Hee hee. Then I thought it was very interesting. So Olaf gets locked in a birdcage at one point, and he tries to tempt the orphans to like let him out, and he tempts them with information, which I found very interesting. And I think it speaks a lot to Olaf's character, and it speaks a lot to my pen.
Your pen.
My pen. I dropped it.
Oh no.
I got it back. Everything's okay. No. Anyways, it speaks a lot to Olaf's character as someone who's really smart, and he knows what like the Baudelaire children would like value, because he's like, you let me out, I can tell you about your parents, I can tell you about VFD.
Ooh,
I can tell you about me. I can tell you all this, like answer all these questions you have and all this stuff you want to know. And I think it speaks a lot about the orphans, because it's like they really consider it. And yeah, that is the kind of thing they'd let Olaf out over. They don't end up doing it, but it's a back and forth. It's really cool.
It's very smart. Very, very clever of him, too.
Very clever. Yeah, and which I think goes back to your point about, like, Olaf's really smart.
Which I think that's how he knows he was backed in a... Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Like, he's backed in a corner.
He's really smart.
And that's how he can get out of it, because, like you're saying, he's very, like, he is smart. He knows that's going to be the only thing that they'll let him out for.
Right, that's...
I don't know. Well, also...
That's the only thing they'd be tempted by.
Yeah, the only thing. And even then, like, I wonder what information he really would have given them. Because, like, he's such an asshole that, like...
Right.
He'd monkey's paw your ass.
I think he would tell them stuff, but like half truths, and like leave them with more questions than answers, stuff like that.
And not until he was let out of the cage. He would not share anything while he was in the cage.
Well, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's his one bargaining chip. Are you kidding me?
It's just worth noting. It's just worth noting. That's all I'm trying to say.
Then Olaf's and Kit's moment, and then their deaths.
Yes.
Discuss.
Okay.
Thoughts?
So yes. Okay. So the level of intimacy that we see, like that interaction with Olaf and Kit, where it's possible that they were together in the past, like they could have had a history.
They had some kind of like romantic past. So Olaf and Kit are both infected, I guess is the word, with the Medusoid mycelium. And they both refuse the horseradish apples. Kit, because she's like, it'll hurt the baby. Olaf, I don't remember why. I just think he gets shot with a harpoon gun and he's like bleeding out. So Olaf's gonna die either way. But Olaf helps Kit give birth, along with the orphans, to her baby. he kisses her, and then they both die, and they have some like cryptid lines of like
I have it here.
like their past together and like VFD. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give us.
Sorry, because
Give
yeah,
us.
like it's so good. It really is. It's like so Olaf, like they realize that they need Olaf to help like birth the baby. Like they need another person or whatever for some
They
reason.
need an adult.
They need an adult. The like you don't know anything. You children are the same. Like you can triumph in this world with nothing more than a keen mind, a pile of books, and the occasional gourmet meal. They say you have to help Kit. The baby is arriving. Kit, Count Olaf asks, in one swift gesture, he grabbed an apple from the stock pot and took a savage bite, chewed, wincing in pain, and listened as the wheezing settled down. So he like immediately doesn't waste any more time.
Jumps to help her.
Klaus is like, you're hurt. He's like, I've been hurt before. A fucking god tier line that like, you know, just this like, whoa.
It's like weird, like intimate look into Count Olaf and like who he is as a person, and like a much more like noble version of him than we've ever seen before.
Yes, because it is ultimately like the whole like noble versus villainous, and like nobody's truly noble, nobody's truly villainous. Like, you know, it's easy to think of things as caricatures, but like, you know, Olaf's constantly says like he's not the most evil person. Like there's much worse.
Right. People have whatever.
Yeah.
We've gotten into it before.
So I've been hurt before, Count Olaf said, and he staggered down the slope and waded into the waters of the flooded coastal shelf. In one smooth gesture, he lifted Kit from the raft and carried her onto the shores of the island, which, oh my god. The distraught woman's eyes were closed, and as the Baudelaires hurried down to her, they were not sure she was alive, blah, blah, blah. The villain stared at Kit for one long moment, and then he leaned down and did a strange thing. As the orphans looked on, Count Olaf gave Kit Snicket a gentle kiss on her trembling mouth. Yuck, says Sonny, as Kit's eyes flutter open, which, good job. I told you, Count Olaf said weakly. I told you I'd do that one last time. And then Kit hits him with, you're a wicked man. Do you think one kind act will make me forgive you for your failings? And then he stumbles away, like, for a second, utters a sigh and goes, I haven't apologized. And then they talk to each other, or they don't say anything. The night has 1,000 eyes, and the day but one. Yet the light of the bright world dies with a dying sun. The mind has 1,000 eyes, and a heart but one. Yet the light of a whole life dies when love is done. Olaf gives her a faint smile, and says, you're not the only one who can recite the words of our associates. And then he gazed out at sea, and they talk about like man hands on misery to man. It deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can, and don't have any kids yourself. With a little laugh, and I think that's the last thing they really say to each other. Because I think Olaf's also dying. Like Olaf dies as well.
Yeah. Olaf is shot with a harpoon gun and he's bleeding out. Lemony Snicket could write 1,000 romance novels, and I'd read them all. He's insane. He just pulls shit like this out of his ass.
So good.
And it's complicated. It's beautiful. People are people.
Like, please Olaf go and read the section that I read like at home if you have the book, because like I didn't even do it justice. It's so good. Keep going. He's
fulfilling promises. He's not apologizing. He's like doing this like one last act to like a woman he at some point cared about, and it's like, but he doesn't regret anything he's done because he's not apologizing. He's just saying, I was gonna kiss you one last time. Crazy intense.
It changes everything you know about him.
Romantic.
Like now I almost want to reread it with the knowledge that like what led him down this path.
He's capable of this. And it's like I think the night has 1,000 eyes, the morning only has one. The mind has 1,000 eyes, but a heart only one. You die when love is done. Get out while you can. Don't have kids yourself. I'm clawing at the walls. I'm chewing on bricks.
It's just foaming at the mouth for more. Like
insane poetry, and this is like not the point. Could you imagine?
He's got seaweed hair and a dress on, and like he's pretending to be her too in this moment.
He's in drag. Yeah.
Which, hey, Je ne sais queer, as you said.
Je ne sais queer. Um, insane moment. He reads very like pansexual to me. Not the point.
I can see
Um,
that.
if one were to imagine Olaf as a queer man, pansexual.
Hmm.
Um, but that was that was a crazy moment, and it again, like, these books leaves you with so many more questions than you ever get answers, and that's like kind of the point of like, yeah, this is a story, but it's also like real life isn't like neat with like very defined like side characters and like plot art
Mm-hmm.
and like satisfying endings. This is just a moment in time, and these people come into the Baudelaire's lives, and they have
Their own
rich
stories,
backstories and
yeah.
history and like complex motivations and like tragedy to them that we just don't get to see because that's not what this is about. Um, crazy, crazy, insane.
I think it was a really, really amazing thing the way he wrote.
Deeply unhinged.
Mm-hmm,
Hmm.
the one and the same.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, I think about how impactful that messaging is to intended audience, like as a kid, like maybe not picking up
Hmm.
on it like the way you did and the way we do now, but like, still instilling that idea of like life will have mysteries. Like we never find out what the great unknown is, the question mark. We never figure out what's going on with the sugar bowl. We never find it,
Hmm.
or I think it's the sugar bowl ends up at the bottom of the lake, I'm pretty sure, with the
Yeah,
underwater
but we
library.
don't. It ends up in the library, but we don't. We don't know what's in it. We don't know
Yeah,
really why it's so important.
we could speculate,
Um.
but the idea that like there are no satisfying answers and people have their own backstories is something that
Mhm.
like really, really like resonated with me. Of like,
Mhm.
it's almost like I'm personally tend to be predisposed to like always try to like understand where someone else is coming from, and like, understand that like, you know like the you have to remember that like other people have their own lives going on, they have their own stuff going on, and that like the villain in my story could be the hero in theirs, like,
Mhm.
and not realizing that like we tend to assume people's intent. Though personally, if I may, I do think that the reason why he went after the Baudelaires in particular for their fortune is in revenge for him being orphaned, personally.
Right. And I think specifically this is such a mature way to write like children's books because, excuse me, even in like books and like media aimed at adults, you don't really see things written this way. You know what I mean? Where it's like complicated and messy and unsatisfying on purpose with less of like characters and more like people whose lives are just intersecting in this one like moment in time. You don't get that from a lot of like books, and especially not books aimed at kids. So I think it's a really like from the beginning, Lemony never talks down to his readers, and I think this is like another example of that, of like he's kind of throwing these complex mature themes and trusting that the reader is like smart enough to contend with it and like digest it in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. I have one more note.
Okay.
So the Beatrice letters we touched on
Mm-hmm.
very briefly. Um, it's a second book, kind of like, or not a second book. It's another book set in the same universe as
Like a companion
Series of
book.
Unfortunate
Yeah.
Events, a companion book. And so there's this one quote that I really like from Lemony Snicket: "I will love you if I never see you again, and I will love you if I see you every Tuesday." Um, and I thought it was from this book, and when I was reading it, I kept waiting for that line to come up, and it didn't. It's from the Beatrice letters. So if you want more beautiful poetry about love and loss, there's some homework for you.
I kind of like I do kind of want to get the book because I want to read it.
Hmm.
Um
Hmm.
it does also take place before the end, technically. But
Yeah.
he's writing to two different Beatrices And the reason I don't think you should read it before the end because it gives you hints about the end, namely Beatrice.
There's more than one Beatrice.
Two. There's a Bea twice.
Bea twice.
So
not a Beatrice.
no, Beatrice. No. But yeah,
that'd be ridiculous.
The poetry,
too many.
That's a really beautiful line, though. Like the I'd love you if I never saw you again, and I'd love you if I saw you every Tuesday. Like,
yeah.
Get you someone
Makes
who talks to you like that.
Right. Get you someone who follows your children around for 13 books after your death because he's so obsessed with you. Crazy.
Granted, I don't think he's ever, aside from the one time that it's unofficial in book 11, I don't think he's actually ever met them. Like, following around, like studying him, just for anyone at home who wasn't sure.
Right. He's not stalking them. He's an archivist.
He's just like kindly hyper fixated on his like the love of his life's offspring, you know? And I think that's great. And their story.
Yeah, no. Whom among us hasn't,
gone
a little off the deep end?
You just don't think about it.
If you've looked at your ex's Instagram page, you're just like Lemony Snicket.
Yeah, honestly.
You're doing the same thing he is.
In a way, are these books not just kind of like him vague tweeting that like he's mad she's gone and like he misses his girlfriend?
He's not even vague tweeting. Every dedication is to her, and he's like, "I'm so sad you're dead."
It's not funny, but just like the dryness of just, the book to Beatrice. I'm so sad you're dead. Fucking A, okay. Like,
that's what he's saying.
Oh, although book 13. A little
more fancy.
For Beatrice, I cherished, you perished. The world's been nightmarish. He's.
I'm sad you're dead.
Good. Oh, basically, you're dead. Lemonie's such a good writer.
13 books to say, I'm sad that you're dead. Here's whatever the fuck your kids are up to.
Oh, I didn't realize there was. Did you see the dedication in chapter 14?
Yes.
Go
ahead and read it for the audience.
And I'm reading it for me too. For Beatrice, we are like boats passing in the night, particularly you. Which, because like that's all it is. She's literally a boat passing in the night.
She's literally a boat. She passed in the night. She's not. Well,
yeah, but it's like the whole like two ships. You'll never interact again, sort of thing.
We pause for 1 second. I have to let Penny
no problem.
Okay, so
all right, so you got Penny. Good.
That we're dog handled. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this book. She wants back in again.
Great.
I'm gonna kill the dog.
No problem.
I'll just ignore it. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't have any other notes. Like more so, I'm really excited to talk about the rest of all the stuff we want to talk about. So I'm good.
We got some stuff planned, baby.
It's okay. Jover.
Jover. Let's move on to the orphan ranking.
The final orphan ranking of the series, for individual books.
Right.
Wonderful.
So.
Oh, that's right. We have the same one.
We have the same ones. We've discussed this. So in last place, Beatrice, the orphan. She does nothing. We love to see
She's there.
We can't wait to see more.
She's part of it. She is involved. She does get to grow up, but she's almost exclusively in chapter 14. So doesn't count. Technically, that's a separate book. Boom, 4th place.
Okay.
You okay?
I got it. Don't worry about it.
So I know that because I think we had different reasons for why we chose our rankings, but I know that we did end up having the same rankings.
I don't know. It's been like a week since we talked about this. I don't really remember.
It's been a week, and I have not thought about like I was like, oh, we did all the prep, great. Like, yeah, let me think about moving and shit like that. Finally.
And guess what? Girls at home, we did not do all the prep.
No, we didn't. We did, but we did so much more prep. We'll talk about it in the
We did.
review slide.
You'll see.
Let's
You'll see the prep we did.
Mhm. It had nothing to do with this part.
No.
So,
Anyways, Sunny, I think, is my number one. We're bouncing around.
that's
I don't
okay.
care.
Yeah.
Sunny's my number one, definitely because her speaking full sentences in chapter 14 fucked me up major style. No one else could be my number one.
Correct.
I think Violet is number two because Violet is Violet. What other reasons could you have? I think she's the one who figured out what was going on with the apples and the horseradish.
Yeah. Maybe.
In the series of unfortunate events book inside of these books. That's what I'm choosing to believe.
I think so. Honestly, at least for me, I feel like Klaus and Violet could be interchangeable. Like they could be tied for second because all
I
three
think that's what we talked
kids,
about.
yeah,
It's really a tie for second.
all three kids really do kind of like, it's hard, like if you haven't read the book, it's hard to describe it because it's not like they were actively dealing with a crisis. It actually was quite boring for them most of the time, actually. Like a lot of time passes in the book.
It's a lot of like hidden tension almost, and like silent power. There's not like a fight or anything. It's just kind of like tense, and like it's like chess.
Yeah, it's a lot of them realizing like kind of like a culmination of all of the different skills, like, you know, all the way back in, like, if you remember 667 Dark Avenue or Sat's Elevator, they talk about like that's where they start realizing that like there's differences, like sometimes we could do this, or like in Vile Village when they start manipulating the crowd, like, well, we're being manipulative, that's bad. And it's like, but we have a good reason to. And it's like, well, so does Olaf, if you want to, like, that's where that philosophical moral bullshit, because it's like, well, technically they are similar, and it's like both of these things are true. One of them is much more evil than the other. So
we can still apply moral standing to these situations.
True. So yeah, I think Sunny did amazing. I think her talking, her again, the most visible signs of growth.
Yeah, I think Violet did a lot to help Kit give birth to, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks since I finished the book at this point.
I've been getting turned on that coconut cordial, so I don't know. I just
no thoughts, head empty.
The one. So yeah, that's pretty content for me. I think.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? Olaf, I think we joked about adding in as one of our favorite orphans, but no, he's bad. Although I will say I was kind of sad at his death, because of the way that it happens with Kit. Like they fucking make you feel for him right at the very end, and it's very bullshitty.
It's this weird gut punch right at the end of like how complex and soulful this villain can be. Crazy.
Yeah, just wild.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So I think that will. Ooh, okay. So before we, I guess, get into this slide, did we have anything else to do with orphan ranking?
Nope.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's correct. There will be a pause.
Not yet.
Unless.
Uh-huh.
So, thoughts and commentary on the end of Summer Book Club. If you've made it this far, we're 1 hour into the recording. This is, I guess, intermission of sorts, where we're going to take a step back and give you some thoughts and comment. What it says on the book, on the screen, thoughts and commentary.
Yeah.
So,
a Summer Book Club is like a whole, and not yeah. So the first video,
I guess
was then.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, I'll just put them all up. There we go.
Okay.
So something that Kale and I did when we were prepping for this was we went through and looked at the upload date for all of the videos, to figure out how consistent we were, like when were the gaps, so to speak. And
Yeah.
I do have the notes list somewhere. I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling it up, but
There
it
she
goes.
is again.
Yeah. So we started this back in June, June 10th of 2023. We put out another video a week later on the 17th. And then we put out
A week later. That's crazy.
right. Those are back when the books were small.
Those first couple books were real shorties.
June was different. June hit different. And July hit different.
That was when we were still trying to do it all in the summer.
Yes.
We were like, we can get this done by August.
Yeah, totally. Which, like, in hindsight, this takes a lot longer than expected. Aside from everything that happened as well, like, I think, moving forward, next projects, it's like, okay, we have a better idea of, like, realistically, like, every other week, I think is a good metric of sorts. We'll figure it out.
Even then.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Or at least
when we get it done, we get it done.
We get it done. We could also just schedule it. Work. So this video is obviously coming out in March 2024. 9 months. Seaweed hair, pregnant belly, full of baby. This project, with a noticeable gap between 610, 617, 626, 716. So that one took a couple weeks. I had friends in town, that showed up, I think, like the day after we recorded.
That's right.
Yeah. And then I was dealing with some stuff. We did episode 4 on the 16th of July. Then another 2 weeks, we did episode 5 on October 2nd. And in a wild turn of events, 4 days later, we put out episode 6.
Yeah.
Peak.
Those were filmed back to back in 4 days. I think that was when we were doing it live, so the VOD went up.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, the VOD went up again.
Yes. Yeah, we did the VODs. I was just on it. I think I had forgot to upload it because we did it live, and then I was like, oh shit. And then a couple days later we did it. I did it in appropriate time. That's right. I forgot that we live streamed them a couple times.
For a couple.
So nervous. So
3 or 4.
I figured out what was wrong with I figured out what the show needed. By the way, it took me too long to figure it out, but I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Or maybe, I don't know. 814, 817. Also wild that we did 2 again relatively back to back. Then 9/11, we did episode 9, which is interesting.
Was a choice. We did Catgirl Book Club on 9/11.
That's Catgirl Book Club. I forgot we put it on the presentation. It was on 9/11, so never forget. But
never forget Catgirl Book Club, baby.
Nothing else. We're re-changing the date.
Yeah.
Then we had
it's a new holiday.
It's free. You can just do that. It's Catgirl. I want to be the dream. 10/14, we did episode 10. Then, so that was like about a month between episodes, which was about a month before episodes. Then we took a month and a half break.
Right. Nothing gets done in November. Let me tell you what.
Nothing. October was not a good month for me. It was a bad time. And so November was also just, I think we were just really busy, honestly, in a mix of that.
Yeah, November's never a good time of year for me. So I'm not surprised we didn't do anything.
We lived. Episode 11 came out 12/3 of last year. And on Christmas Eve, we did episode 12. So,
which is my birthday.
Yeah.
Kale birthday.
Happy birthday, Kale. It's been a few months.
Thanks.
No
yeah, it's March now. Nowhere fucking near my birthday.
Nowhere near. And with Summer Book Club being 9 months to read 13 books and talk about them,
Yeah,
it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
it's been a lot. We've had fun.
Yeah. I like,
We've had some good times and some bad.
yeah, we've had good and even great times, if you will,
Hmm.
and bad times. Uh,
And then we had Cat Girl Book Club on 9/11.
Fuck yes. Goddamn right. Um, I guess like I don't know how to like go about this. We didn't practice this part, but like
No, we didn't prep.
we didn't prep. We didn't prep. It happens. Say Lovey. But mhm.
It's- yeah. I don't know. I was just gonna read the next
Yeah,
point
go ahead.
that we read in total 3,863 pages, and this includes book 13 and chapter 14 as well. So
It did not feel like that.
it took us n- it took us 9 months to read almost 4,000 pages.
That's not bad. That's more pages than a lot of people read in a year, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So, and
Mhm.
honestly, like it wasn't even that like reading them took all the time. It was everything else.
It was finding time to read while like life was going on, finding time to sit down for like 3 hours and record
Mhm.
at a time. Finding time, yeah.
Finding any, yeah, all of it,
Mhm.
but worth it. I think it was a very enjoyable to reread it. I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, I'm glad we did this. This is a very important book series to me now, even more so.
Book club changed my life.
Yeah.
Like, damn it,
Hmm.
it was real. More importantly than my life being changed was, especially with the last minute correction, you had a total of 5 different hair colors over the last 9 months that we recorded with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
S-
Uh, yeah. So if you go back and look, the green and the blue, they're gonna look the same. But I checked my phone, my camera, because this camera, it makes it look the same. They're different colors. I promise you that.
It got
So we had
us
5 colors in total.
the pink, purple,
Um,
and
green, blue, red. Typically with hair colors, you're supposed to like follow the color wheel a little
oh,
bit, you know what I
okay.
mean? And not jump from purple to green, and then from blue to red. If hold on, let me take my hair down. Um, if we look closely, you can see the blue
Oh, yeah.
making the tips of my hair purple because I did not do a good job of bleaching it. Uh, uh, it's a layered look.
It's a little
It's very
avant-garde, you know, like
it's got depth.
it's more about the moment. Like, do you feel like that?
It's very it's Ramona Flowers-esque in the animated Scott Pilgrim,
Mhm.
where she has the one color and then the other color at the tips. It's very that.
It's a good look.
Hmm.
Do you feel like your hair color? Do you feel like book club had any effect on what color you chose for your hair? Do you feel like it inspired the choices you made?
No, no. It inspired me to dye my hair more frequently because people were seeing me with my hair,
For being perceived would
uh
do that. Yeah.
and I wanted it to look good, at least sometimes.
10 out of 10 every time. Your
So
hair was always on point.
thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I know I
Yeah.
didn't write this down for this, but what was your favorite costume that we wore?
Oh, I think the Proof Rock Prep one where we do the Green Day My Chem
Hmm.
black shirt, red tie. I thought that was sickening.
Very good. Very
Um,
clean.
I thought that was very good. I don't remember. There was one where I wore a lot of moth. I don't remember what book that was for,
Mm.
but I love moth.
I don't remember which one. I was
I don't remember either because it was in reference to there's a line or there's like it might have been Slippery Slope. Yeah, I don't know.
oh
there's a line in one of the books that's like a man like swallowed a bunch of butterflies to keep them safe. And so he used butterflies in his stomach.
Mm.
And I was so in
Mm.
reference to that, I wore a bunch of moth stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I
That might book 6, maybe?
maybe.
I don't know.
Well, we're gonna take
You
a
have to go back
break.
and
Yeah,
watch.
yeah. You guys do that. We'll look it up offline.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to pop off this. Um, shit. I really, really loved the reptile room episode. I think it was tough.
For the cost, that was the first time.
Yeah, was the first time.
That was the first time we did costumes.
It was.
You did it without me.
Oh, that's right.
You had a much better costume than I did, rather. I had like snake earrings, I think,
Yeah,
and you had a full like
the,
touristy
a little
outfit. It
touristy.
was
Well, I
cool.
was in my walking guy era, which was a whole time too. Like, I've been thinking about it more recently because I've been going on walks again, and now that it's like started to warm up, so I'm like in my like my workout clothes, and I'm like, I'm a walking guy. I used to walk
Yeah.
these hills, and
You used to be a walking guy when we started this. Now you're not even a guy.
uh,
So that's how much can happen in a book club.
way to go, liberal left. This is the book they don't want you to read. Yeah.
Listen. Say what you want about indoctrination. Book 4 showed Count Olaf as Shirley. Now you've transitioned.
Well,
What do you have to say for
okay,
yourself?
so
You can't
I was
say
about to say book 4 we did July 16th, and I'm like, no, I don't think I cracked then yet. Around episode 5, maybe? Because I think it was it
mm-hmm.
might have been actually I think it was for Cackerel Book Club, maybe. I think Cackerel Book Club was the first
Oh
one that
yeah.
I like after I had kind of come out uh publicly, which was also just how I decided to come out. Big brain play.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I thought about everything else first instead of just going, no. I just came to the conclusion. Now we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a really like crazy experience to think about like this feeling that like I learned so much from every book club and like reflecting on it and like we were like we tried a bunch of different shit, very like
Mm-hmm.
experimental, and I think I was like we should make it experimental because like I don't know what's going on, I don't know what it is. Like I think it was just dysphoria from seeing myself on camera. Probably not the best position for me to be in as someone who didn't know that's what it was and is just constantly perceiving themselves. Was a bit of a choice, but um I'm just really really appreciative that like I've gotten to know you as well as I have from meeting you back over the summer, before I unsealed myself at the Four Corners and meeting Penny, and
Yeah.
the kind of
I'm just knocking shit around.
okay the journey just mad. It's been really nice, and it's been uh, a wild journey that's been stressful and tiring and exhausting, and in a lot of ways like I didn't want summer to end, but I'm very happy to be able to put our final touches here at the end because how fitting, um, in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ways. So I don't know, how was the
Yeah.
experience for you?
Um, I don't know. I've definitely gone on like less of a journey than you have over these past 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I agree. Like it's been really nice having this to look forward to like talk to you as often as we do talk and like get closer through the medium of these books and just like put myself out there a lot more. Like the first time I ever did a live stream was with you during book
Oh,
club
that's right.
and it scared the shit out of me.
You were very
But
brave.
now I was very brave. I took my anxiety medication and we got through it. Um yeah.
I'm so glad. It's been
And just like
mhm.
in general looking back at these books with like a more adult perspective and a better grasp on like maybe my childhood wasn't the best and these books were there for me at a very tumultuous time. Like that's been very like impactful to me and like a moment of like reflection
Yeah.
that I've had.
Lots of good
Mm-hmm.
calling points back to I know we talked about it a lot in a lot of the episodes where like we remember where we were at that time in our life vaguely when we read these books,
Mm-hmm.
and that the stuff that does pull out to us that we do notice, like it do hit different now. Like there's perspective and realizing just like the true extent of like, you know, the failures of these adults. Like we see things now not just from the point of view
Mm-hmm.
of the Baudelaires, but truly as like a fly on the wall. Like I feel like we're a
Mm-hmm.
lot better to like in a better position to see it from Lemony's point of view, and the self discovery, well, not
Right.
like self discovery, but like to stop and reflect and have like kind of like learn more about ourselves through media is something that I really value. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that a series of unfortunate events, like you're saying, like it just is so much more impactful than you would like than I would have expected.
Mm-hmm. And I think as like a child, what you look for in a book is like to relate to a main character and to like imagine yourself going on these like adventures. I don't know if I'd call what happens in this book an adventure, but like yeah, now that we're older and we have a bit more like media literacy, um it's a different experience to like go through these books as like take a step back and be like these kids are so young, that's crazy. What's happening is so crazy.
Like, oh holy shit, can you picture this in the real world? Like, oh no 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 no. Like
Mm-hmm.
kids, we
Right.
just read past it. We're just like, yeah, that makes sense, like in
Like
context, but
even in this book, it's like Violet's like what, 16 at the end of these books,
mm-hmm.
taking care of a baby. Makes sense to like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old reading this. As a 21-year-old reading this, holy
Oh
shit,
yeah.
I can't take care of a baby. I certainly couldn't have at 16.
I I mean, Lemony says it from the very beginning. This is not a good story. Like this book has
Mm-hmm.
a terrible ending. I think he even reiterates that at the very beginning of the end. That like, well, it's the onion and stuff, but it's like this is not good. He warns you all the time that the endings are never good, and then they aren't good. And
Yeah, they're sad. They're downers.
but that's what makes them so great is all those little moments of like, despite everything, they still made it out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, are they better off? Yes, they are better off because Olaf's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but there's always going to be shit, and like even Lemony says this is the end of their story, but like this is not the end of their story, but it's the end of this story.
Yeah. This is where the book stopped. This is not where the Baudelaires stop. This isn't even like the last unfortunate thing that happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the story needs to end at some point.
Gotta wrap it up. So
You gotta go. He's got dinner plans in half an hour.
it's just hurry. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Okay.
had a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
crazy.
A lot of fun doing this book club,
Me too.
and just thank you, Kale, for I can't like just for everything. I can't believe we did it. I can't believe we actually
Yeah.
finished this fucking series. Like that we actually made the
Mm-hmm.
videos.
Don't make me cry. I'm wearing
Okay,
eyeliner.
I guess yeah, I won't try to get too emotional because we're gonna do the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
So, any closing thoughts?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's get into the ultimate final orphan ranking. Alrighty, welcome back. We very quickly, in 2 seconds,
Tallied the
tallied the
votes.
votes.
Yeah.
Um,
So
mhm.
we've used a complicated science method. Uh, what is it? 3 points for first place, two
For
points
second,
for second,
uh,
1 point for third, and a half point for anything below third.
correct.
We are ready to present you with the best orphan.
the true final orphan ranking. We also did a composite of each of our individual lists so that all the strengths are there.
Because we didn't agree every time. So
but we did most of the time, or a decent chunk of the time.
Yeah. I'd say over half.
For the most part. And the ones that we would like argue about were like typically first and second. And we tended to be inverse. So the one quick honorable mention, there's a couple honorable mentions. Chabo the Wolf Baby, love to see it. 1 point because they were in one book. Technically an orphan. Beverly and Elliot, technically an orphan, but they don't get double points because they're one person. I don't know. One orphan. With two heads. And then I don't. And then Count Olaf gets 0 points. He's a terrible orphan and he sucks ass. But he is an orphan.
Beatrice from this book. 1 point.
1 point. She's here. And then with that, it gets us to
in sixth place.
Sixth place. How many points?
We have with 6 points in sixth place. We have Quigley Quagmire.
Hey.
Now, Quigley is in the bottom tier. We don't see him that way in our heart of hearts. He was just only in 2 books that we ranked him. So he does have he has a less amount of points. In fifth place, we have, with 9 points, Duncan Quagmire.
Duncan! Barely beating out Quigley. It was very close.
Barely. And barely beating out Duncan with 9.5 points, we have Isadora Quagmire.
Hey, let's go. Girls on top.
Viewers will note that I had a crush on Duncan as a child. Wasn't enough to get him into the top 4. But we live in La Vida Loca. Now, the real competition.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to call my bookie after this because like, fuck, I did not expect already where it's at in those extra brackets.
We made some bets. With a total of 43.5 points, we have Klaus Baudelaire as our number 3 orphan.
A wonderful character, wonderful person on the team.
Wonderful boy.
He's so good. And to be clear, all of these, like, there's so much of a jump because they're in every book. But when we look at the weighted average of like how much did each of the main 3 orphans, how many points did they earn on average per book, Klaus is really, really not that far behind second and first place. So it was surprisingly a bit of a close race.
Right. In second place, with a total of 45 points, we have Violet Baudelaire, meaning that taking home our number 1 spot with an astounding 51 points is Sunny Baudelaire.
Woo!
It was a great showing from everyone, but Sunny took home the gold this time. And this is our final definitive orphan ranking. We have done it. We found the best orphan. Sunny is the best. Quigley is the worst.
Quigley, terrible orphan. Just kind of cringe, honestly. Barely alive.
If I died, I wouldn't want my children to turn out like Quigley.
Whisked away by the river? Maybe. But he was also friends with Jacques.
Even swim.
I will say that personally, I think that whatever off-screen, off-page story, Quigley had the most exciting story. Like, I would love to know what Quigley was up to. Like, a side book series. That would be fun. I also don't know. I don't think we ever find Duncan and Isadora. We never find out what happened to them.
No.
Oh, that makes me sad.
No.
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah.
Oh. So, did you expect Sunny to win over Violet and Klaus?
No, I wrote Violet as my because we wrote down who we thought would win. I think you took Sunny and I took
Yeah,
Violet.
that
So
sounds right.
I do think I owe you like a kiss or something. I don't remember what
Mm,
the stakes
we did
were.
that so long. Was that in the first one that we set that up, or
No,
was that
it
in
was
prep?
that was in prep that we set up who we think the best orphan will
Work.
be.
Okay. Good. And
Mhm.
I think it's a good,
Mhm.
like, I mean, obviously this is statistically just correct. This is how many points everyone earned, but
Right.
um
We've assigned numbers to it, so it has to be correct.
exactly. It's just good. It's good. So,
Mm-hmm.
um with that, I do believe that we are in
Yeah.
time for the an hour and 25 minutes in, a quick ad break.
Yeah. From our today's sponsor, us.
Us. Take it away, us. Hello.
Hello and welcome to a series of unfortunate awards.
Ooh.
This is bigger than the Oscars.
We should have had
This is
John Cena
better than the
naked
Grammys.
with the cue cards from Most Villainous.
Well, yeah.
They laughing.
We can still take our clothes
Oh
off.
yeah.
It's
I
fine.
mean, there's time. I don't monetize the videos, so we're good. We won't even get age restricted.
So,
So
yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah. Showing
A
full
little
tit.
tit, a little tit.
Just a tasteful amount of full nipple.
Just mhm.
Um,
Male or female presenting.
mhm.
We have variety.
We have diversity in our nipples. Okay.
God damn it.
That's not what today is
It's
about. Today
nipple
is about
diversity.
a series of unfortunate
Correct.
awards.
Yes. Okay. So exciting. So we're going to kick it off without any awards. And first and foremost, the awards that we're going to do is
Tier
the
list.
2-tier list back to back. Book ranking first and foremost, which I think is important. You liked the books.
This is the content you came for.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the books. The audience liked the books. You didn't think they were that good.
I've seen the books once or twice, but I'm not a big fan overall.
Now, do you want to start with the first or the 13th?
Oh,
Because I think
I think we should.
we're gonna agree.
I think we should start bottom up.
More with the bottom half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so too. So,
all right. Without further ado, in 13th place, we each made our own individual lists without telling each other. They're secret up until right now.
This is finally
live on camera.
So we'll have to figure out if we disagree. We'll do the over under. We'll figure. Well, I'm ready. Who did?
We'll figure it out. It's
the
fine.
worst
Okay.
book?
In 13th, I had Bad Beginning.
It's the Bad Beginning for me. How
it's bad. Bad.
It's not the worst book. Well, I guess technically it kind of is, but now that I think about it,
it's not the worst book of all books in this series. It's my least favorite.
The Bad Beginning. So we will put it in 13th place because it's where it all begins, and it's I will still say that it being in third place, it is still an important book, and it sets up everything, and like it got us. It got you into the series. It got you in, so work.
It didn't, but
that's right. You didn't read.
I didn't read Bad Beginning first.
That's so funny. Okay. Well then that's fair. What'd you have for 12th place?
For 12th place, I had Hostile Hospital.
Oh, that is so interesting. I had Miserable Mill.
Contentious choice.
For my 12th place.
See, Miserable Mill's my 11, so I'm okay with bumping it down to 12.
So,
what
if I told you Hostile Hospital was my book 11 in classic book club fashion? We couldn't make it easy.
We couldn't make it easy.
So I'm willing to say that both Hostile Hospital and Miserable Mill can be put in 11th place, and then I'll just delete this row.
They share 11.
Yeah. That's going to make it easier.
So we skipped 12th entirely.
Mhm. Because those books tie
Okay.
because we disagree. Okay. It works. Yeah.
All right. We'll see how this
We
stays
didn't
up.
think about this. We didn't plan it out. We're involved.
In all of our prep work, this was one of the things we didn't prep.
We could put the P in plural.
Okay. What did you have for 10th?
For 10th, I had the Ursat's elevator.
I had the Ursat's elevator for 10.
How exciting. And Ursat's elevator is good too, which I find.
Ursat's elevator is good.
Like, the books are getting good now.
Yeah. Right. Bad Beginning is the only one I wouldn't go back and reread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got what I got.
I've read it.
The rest.
Yeah. I've read it. I've read it. I'm here.
And that's all that needs to be done. The others, everything above that, I would read again. Just for like leisure and pleasure.
And just for like, just to like feel something, you know? Like, I just sometimes I want my soul to feel it.
Just to read a book.
Yeah. I mean, Austere Academy, always. You could do that. Some of the books are actually just good on their own. Anyway, yeah. Okay. 9th place.
Do you want me to go with 9th place? I had Slippery Slope.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
I did not rank it very highly. It's over more. Yeah, it's there.
So, funnily enough, I had put Slippery Slope in 8th place. So, I'm curious now. I will tell you my 9th place.
And
Austere Academy.
Austere Academy is your 9th place?
Yes.
Are you sure? That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Like, I was surprised myself. This is where the tier list got really, really hard for me. Like, the bottom was super easy.
That's crazy. Because that's your favorite,
Correct. It still is my favorite.
I thought that would have been much higher.
Well, I went into this unbiased. That's not true.
I almost wish we had 2 of every book now.
Yeah.
Because mine is nowhere.
I wish we could like copy it, but we'll. So
okay.
I guess we'll leave it like this for now. But we'll adjust it as we go. So if we got to move one, but Odie was Austere Academy and Kale is Slippery Slope, which is wild.
That's unbelievable. I was gonna try and guess.
I don't think you would have. Yeah,
I didn't. No.
So,
okay.
8th place, I had Slippery Slope.
Okay. I had Penultimate Peril for 8th.
Oh my god. Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. We might have to do. We'll take 2 pictures. Like we'll readjust it to match ours correctly. But now I think about it, I can't believe you put Penultimate Peril at 8th.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So, tell me your 7th.
Carnivorous Carnival.
Okay. I think you're gonna be really surprised when I put Carnivorous Carnival. For number 7, I had Austere Academy.
Ooh. Okay. These are all like good. Is the problem?
These are all good. Right. I think we had this conversation during prep where it's like my deliberation between 8th and 9th, they could go either way. I wouldn't mind switching them. But like my 4 and my 7, I would never switch. You know what I mean? So like in the individual sections, I'm pretty solid, but number to number, there's some flexibility, there's some leeway.
Fascinating. You're gonna be so surprised. Like we have very different tier lists. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, we were right that like the bottom 2 were very similar. 10 down, we're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And now we've gone completely off the
rails. All right. Off kilter.
My number 6, Grim Grotto.
6? You put Grim Grotto. Really?
6, I put Grim Grotto. Yeah.
In,
What do you have for number
I put
6?
Wide Window at number 6 personally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
Very
fair.
fair. Um, because it's more so that like I think a thing that I really valued was like I really wanted to know more about VFD and like those mysteries that I didn't pick up on a kid. So I definitely value the later books more than the earlier books. It's not consistent, like fully
Mm-hmm.
consistent, but um, a lot of like I enjoyed the later books so much because of rereading it. Like it made them a lot more enjoyable. At least
Mm-hmm.
is like a little bit of reasoning for me. So,
I think I'm the opposite, where I have a lot more nostalgia for the earlier books,
mm,
so that makes me enjoy them more. Um, as opposed to like book 13, which I didn't remember reading at all.
really? Ooh,
Um,
a nostalgia based
oh, I
list.
remember
That's
bits and pieces when
interesting.
I was reading it. It's not necessarily 100%
Mm-mm.
nostalgia based, but it was just like I have such important memories tied to these books that really fluctuates how I can
Yeah,
see
the
them.
impact of the books. Absolutely.
Right.
Like nostalgia as like
And
a
like
starting
this is
point. I didn't
my
mean to be derivative, but because like
right.
that's yeah, it
Uh
factors in.
and like this is my tier list. Like we talked about it. It's not necessarily like a tier list of like objectively the best books in order. This is the books I liked the best.
Yeah. That's yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Tell me your number 5.
Um
Tell me your
my
number
number
5.
5 was Vile Village.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah.
My number 5 was The End.
You put The End on
I think it's
number
right.
5.
I put The End at number 5.
You're insane.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let me do it.
I think you're gonna be really mad at my top 3.
Gosh, yeah, I probably will be. You really think that Vile
Mm-hmm.
Village was better than The End?
Yes, I do. Vile Village is my number 4, if that makes you feel
Oh,
better. And again, I'm pretty I'm pretty loose
okay.
with in regards to 4 or 5. But for me, the change of going from like the first 6 books where it's like Guardians and Olaf
Mm-hmm.
and like that kind of structure, and then the change to like the kids are on their own, they're on the run, Sunny can walk now. That was so um
Yeah,
huge
you're right.
that I think it was really, really impactful for me.
Honestly,
So what was
it
your
makes me
number
wish I
4?
would have rated it higher. Um, because it, like
Mm-hmm.
that's but like
That's
there's
fair.
so many of them have so many like each book for the most part has those really impactful moments and the gravity of it. So my fourth place was
Mm-hmm.
Slippery Slope. Um,
Wow, that's crazy.
which is a I did not expect to like Slippery Slope so much the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember it being kind of boring because they're not really doing anything, but rereading it,
Yeah.
like it almost is kind of like its own bottle episode where they're not really that far from each other, but the level
Mm-hmm.
of growth, Sunny in particular, as well as getting to see some VFD and the moral dilemmas are really good. In the Vile Village, Hector's a pussy,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah,
it's just,
that's fair.
yeah,
Okay.
gosh,
This is
okay, third place.
Why don't you tell me your number 3 first, because I think you're gonna have things to say
So
about
my number
mine.
3 is Reptile Room,
Okay.
which I'm guessing is your
Okay.
second or first, if I had to guess, because it's not
Mm-hmm.
your third, because you would have said something different.
It's
What's your hot take on third place?
Carnivorous Carnival.
Really? Really? That's
Yeah.
quite a jump.
Yeah. Yeah. Carnivorous Carnival is my third favorite
What
book.
about it?
So again, as we talked about, like just like the memories I have associated, this was the only book I owned before having a full box set. So it is the book that I read the
Mm,
most. I really like Madame Lulu and her whole plot. I really like the freaks and like the kids pulling the wool over Olaf's eyes for once with their disguises.
Chavo.
Yeah. And I really liked the kids burning down the carnival at the end. That was huge.
Big money moves.
Mm-hmm.
The kids really, yeah. No, that's a good, I think that's a very solid ranking. Not, it doesn't upset me.
Even though you
Because
even though you put it in 7th.
well, so these all here, like 3rd through 7th was all like, was my battle. Through like maybe 8th.
I see.
Because like,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I know what your 2nd and 1st are. I don't. Well,
Yeah.
okay, we'll see. So, what was your 2nd place?
My 2nd is Reptile Room.
Mm-hmm. Which is very fair. Yeah.
Of course. Very fair. It is arguably probably the best book, I think. I think if you just like objectively,
like start to finish a story,
I
like you don't really need to have read the bad beginning to get it necessarily. I agree. It's got the sound, it's got the music.
Yeah. It's got the best song.
Okay.
All right. What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is The End, actually, which is quite different than your 5th place.
Right.
And it is a different vibe than Reptile Room. But I just really liked it. I don't know. Like I like the I like this new problem that they have. Like, out of everything, one of the scariest things they've dealt with was peace. And I found that to be really, really interesting. That kind of like idyllic. Plus, like, so much good shit happens. Like, to me, as a kid, it felt very good to finish it. Like, holy cow, that's it. That's awesome. I'm ready. So, probably where I'm coming from.
My number 1, as a surprise to nobody, is Wide Window. It was my favorite at the beginning of the series. It's my favorite now. She's my girl.
Stay favorite, absolutely. Aunt Josephine.
Stay favorite.
Work. Part of it.
The letter, iconic. The Peg Leg, crazy. The Peppermints, Lake Lacrimose, the leeches.
The androgynous henchman.
Right. Gooped gagged the entire series. I love it. She's my girl. She's my favorite. She probably always will be.
You know, in hindsight, Wide Window, like Reptile Room, Wide Window, both were really fun books, despite everything that was happening, because it was still small scale.
Right.
And
like, Miserable Mill sucked. Austere Academy, that's when we started getting like VFD stuff. So that's when things started to change. I think Wide Window and Reptile Room really are what get you into this series. If you read Reptile Room and Wide Window and you're like, these books are not for me, just skip back the beginning, read Reptile Room and Wide Window. If you like those books, you'll like the whole series. If you don't like those books, this isn't for you.
And it's okay to take space to not read the books, guys, just so you know.
Right.
But if you don't read them, you're cringe and awkward, and I don't want to talk to you ever again. Ever. Be better.
All right. Give me your number 1, baby. 1,
of course. Anything. Penultimate Peril. Penultimate Peril, baby.
Wow.
I quite the jump.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. From my 8.
I can't believe
is where I put Penultimate Peril.
That's shook me to the core to hear that you put it at 8th. I'm like, first of all, how dare you do that to Dewey? You had no right to put him in 8th place. No, you can't cute your way out of it.
I did.
No, you're a monster. It's maybe just a little bit. Okay.
I had every right to put him in 8th. I'd do it again.
As you should. I loved it. I think that Penultimate Peril was the most.
That's crazy.
Like, I think that was the one book that I half remember reading in a bookstore. And so it was the one book that I was the most excited to read again because I hadn't remembered it. And with how just chock full. Like, there's so much book in that book. Like, there's so much happening in that book in almost every fucking sentence. It is a total like
Mm-hmm.
chaos. You're just as uneasy. It is this like moral gray, obviously playing on the penultimate peril, like, you know, with being the second to last, they get to up the stakes. And this weird inverse, like reversal of situations, and in a lot of ways, like, we go into the end with them in Olaf's clutches, which is kind of how it began. Like, the, you know, this, the theme of cycles and everything. And I love the aesthetic of the hotel. I think it's so fucking cool. I love the
Mm-hmm.
secret library and the fucking pond. Like, we get to meet Kit for a minute. It's great. It's everything. It's not Wide Window though,
Okay.
and I will respect that.
Um, okay, do you want to do the list as just your ranking so that we can have a clear sense of what your
Yeah.
ranking is? And then we'll do mine. So you go ahead and put your books wherever you want
Yeah.
them.
Okay. So I'll do Wide Window was down at number 6, which I know must be hurtful. Grim Grotto was 4. Vile Village was 5.
It's not hurtful because I know I like Wide Window for like deeply personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't necessarily expect other people to have that same like connection with it.
Mm.
It would be unreasonable for me to be like, I like this because it was the first one I read and it got me into the series, and I have like a lot of like personal memories tied to it. So you must like it too.
No,
Like
no.
that's fine. It doesn't hurt me.
True. All right. Yeah, like I think like that would have been a perfectly good reason to, though. Like, and for what it's worth, you gave a
Mhm.
really good explanation of why you liked it. It's a lot more than that.
I stand
I mean,
by it.
it was your favorite book from before this, and you already had reasons. Why do you even need more? That's crazy. In my
Right.
IMHO.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is mine here. Um, I wish that they weren't so tall. This was a choice. It's a very tall
Right.
image, but we could see Bad Beginning, Miserable Mill, blah blah blah. I'm not reading them all. You saw them all. This is what it is. We got Penultimate Peril, The End, Reptile Room, Grim Grotto, and Vile Village top 5. Unfortunately, Wide Window did not make the cut to 5th place. What was yours again? I believe
Wide Window number 1, Reptile Room number 2, Carnivorous Carnival number 3, number 4, Vile Village, number 5, The End, number 6, Grim Grotto, 7, Austere Academy, 8, Penultimate Peril,
9th Slippery Slope.
9, Slippery Slope, 10, Erstat's Elevator, and then we're
Yeah.
all the same from down there.
Perfect.
Yeah. So my top 5: Wide Window, Reptile Room, Carnivorous Carnival, Vile Village, The End. So like I said, I tend to like the earlier books more. Carnivorous Carnival being the book 9, and it's the latest book in the series in my top 5.
Well, aside from The End.
Right,
Yeah.
right, sorry, from The End.
You have a good mix. Like, your picks are like pretty well spread out. I gotta say. So
I see.
yeah,
Thank you.
much better. So congrats.
Yeah.
So that's,
Those are my favorite books after all of this, in order.
and we love it. We're here. It's involved. It's part of it. I do think in hindsight doing this way, this long way, was a choice because it's hard to see them all. But I didn't want to rank them by tiers.
We could have just done. You just could just.
Well, we did do
Yeah.
tiers.
That would have been. We did do tiers. But
That's all right.
so those are our official professional rankings of the books. Go ahead and drop your tier list in the comments if you disagree.
Mhm. And if you don't,
I'm sure every single person has a different at least slightly varied.
Oh, absolutely. I think that these books, there is something for everybody in these books, and you will find things like,
Mhm.
I would love to know what resonated with people that like we never mentioned or we didn't think twice about, you know, because there's a lot of lived experience you could bring to
Right.
your own adventure. So
That being said, if Reptile Room's not in your top 5, I don't want to fucking
delete
hear
my
it.
number.
You've got nothing to
Yeah.
got nothing to say to each other.
There's no way. If it's not in your top 3, I have a problem.
Not in your top. Right. Top 5 was generous of
I think
me.
you're being a little. I think that bar, the minimum, you were
Yeah.
making it a little low. Let's
If
bring it.
you
Let's bring it up.
You're just being contradictory. You're being
You're a fake
contrarian
fan.
just to say something different. If you like Bad Beginning more than Reptile Room, gagging, throwing up.
If you say that you like you like the bad beginning more because it was in the movie, go away, go away, or the show.
If you've seen the movie and not the books, we've got nothing to say to
Grow
each
up,
other.
like.
We've got nothing to say to each
Disgusting.
other. What are you, 6? I was 6 and I still read these books. Bitch.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm done being hostile.
Hospital. Perfect. Well,
Hospital.
speaking of hostile, we have our last longer section, and then we'll get into the extra.
Our second tier list, and then we'll get into awards
the proper awards. So we thought it would be really fun to, like, obviously we ranked the books off of our personal lists and we put those down, but then there's another metric that we could do to rank the books that I think would change the order that we both had, and one that we can actually agree upon, because we haven't done this one.
Right. We can go back and forth and debate
all day on Olaf's schemes tier list, which
is the best scheme, which is the most harebrained, which one we think almost worked. So our categories are downright dastardly, viciously vile, heinous hijinks, benign and banal, outrageously an outrageous orchestration, contemptible, see tame, and feeble flop. So feeble flop is the worst. Downright dastardly is the best. There's not 13 categories.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. So let's get started.
Alrighty.
Now, I'm gonna say some fighting words. I think the plot in the end, is maybe the worst.
Yeah.
And it is maybe tame.
Okay. You think it's arguably the worst with C Tame, because the
I think it's arguably
with him
the worst.
posing as Kit.
Right, as pregnant Kit with just seaweed, and it did not get him fucking anywhere. No one bought his shit. He ended up locked in a birdcage and then dying. That's how.
Yeah, that's C Tame for me. It's contemptible C Tame.
Yeah,
for sure.
It is maybe even a feeble flop, but
if we don't have any other,
it's not a flop. I think it's not quite a flop because he did have absolutely 0 days of preparation, and his only materials were
what was literally nearby on the shelf,
the items
on the coastal shelf,
on the beach. So I think with that kind of like ingenuity, that rises it up to just C Tame. But you know,
I agree.
We have seen better. Yeah, you're on the same page.
Yeah, and we have seen better. Like it. I think that it it's very funny. Like it's so like that. Like I love that plan because it's so ridiculous. Like it's like there's no prep time. He's just fuck it. No, I'm Kit. It's like shut the fuck up, Olaf, please, for 2 minutes.
It's like oh my god.
Fuck it. Just eye rolling. Did we want to do books in order or what are you thinking?
No, I think just whatever you have to talk about. I'm thinking about Grim Grotto, and I think that might be a feeble flop. Because what the fuck was his plan in Grim Grotto? He just fucking stumbled ass backwards into capturing the orphans.
Yeah,
and was just like, I might as well while I'm here. And he was in,
His plan
I
is
don't know,
being a
2
weird
chapters of
father.
that fucking book.
Like, I guess. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
Fe-
I don't think it was a plan. I think it was bad. I think it did
I agree.
not.
He also lost a
It didn't go
henchman.
well for him.
So,
Right.
like, how good? I mean, but he loses one every time.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a flop. Although his,
I think
well, because like,
the orphans are not fucking scared of Olaf in this book, which I think really speaks volumes.
because he doesn't get the Medusoid mycelium until the next one, I think. Or I don't remember how he gets it.
I don't
Because doesn't
remember.
she get
I
locked
don't
in
remember. I think he
Grimgado?
gets it in this book.
No, Sunny gets into
I think
her
they
diving helmet. That's what happens.
Yeah. I think they trade it for something at the end
Yeah.
of the book.
Maybe.
I think he has it in Penultimate Peril, but
Yeah, he does because he's
I
willing
don't
to
think.
release it as like a threat. I think. Okay.
Right. So,
It's a flop. It wasn't good.
but I think it's a flop. The orphans weren't scared of him. He was there for like 2 chapters of the book.
The Tagliane
He was not
Grande.
planning on catching them. Yeah, he just kind of fell ass backwards into that one.
Well, yeah, doesn't he like because he's
Oh.
yelling about how like, oh, you guys just showed up, perfect. I'm like, you fell right into my clutches. This is great. We'll celebrate. Like, fucking
Yeah,
loser.
And they're like, shut the fuck up, Olaf.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. So bad beginning. I want to put at outrageous orchestration.
I think that's a good place for it.
The fact that he almost legally married her and like convinced like it is the most like well thought out, like he gave it one good malicious but legal try, but like trying to skirt the legal system. And I just think like it's an outrageous orchestration of his skills. It's great. That's all I have to say about that.
I think you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Hostile Hospital. What was his plan in Hostile
To
Hospital?
cut Violet's head open?
I think, yeah, kill Violet and then just like kind of hope he finds Klaus and Sunny.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of need to put it viciously vile.
This is, yeah, I think any plan that involves killing one of the orphans, it's above at least benign and banal.
I don't know if I could in good conscience say that like them killing Violet is a heinous hijink. Like that doesn't feel like it wasn't just like a scrappy little thing. But
murder is not a goofy moment, you know what I mean?
Not at all. Not at all. I think that's a good place for it. That was a pretty evil plan, but that's just like fucked up. It's not deep, it's just fucked.
It's just fucked up, yeah. All right. Do you have any other immediate jump outs? I think
I do have one. Yeah.
Let's talk about Vile Village.
Okay.
Let's talk about Vile Village.
Let's talk about it.
Does he get points because Detective Dupin, his disguise, is hot? I think perhaps he does get points for being really sexy in this book. It might be a heinous hijink.
I would argue it's either a heinous hijink or downright dastardly.
It might be downright dastardly.
He puts the kids in the fountain. He literally kills a guy, or gets a guy killed, I should say.
Right. He murders Jack Snicket. He frames the orphans for murder. And then he gets them arrested. And he's sexy while he's
rizzed
doing
the
it.
fuck up. He is performing.
And I would
Magnum
not
opus.
have sex with Count Olaf in any other book.
You would have sex with Detective Dupin, and that's Dupin. There's a difference.
Yes.
They are not the same. They're two people. Allegedly.
They're two people. I'm in a relationship with one. I should know. Uh,
I would know.
mhm. I would know. So
Mm-mm-mm. I think that um, the plan in I want to talk about Miserable Mill, actually. So
okay,
so Miserable
okay.
Mill, just as a placeholder here, what they the plan was that like they just were working. It was to overwork them and then hypnotize
So
Klaus.
so he hypnotizes Klaus. So he has workplace accidents, and he causes workplace accidents, so that they get fired and like given to him shortly.
That's a bit of a heinous hijink.
I think it's a bit of a heinous hijink. That's true. I
It's
yeah, okay. That
yeah.
works.
It's not the best, but because like I don't think it's benign and banal. Like it's not that
No.
high tier, but
I
like it
think
is like hypnotism. Like it went into some like oh wow like
yeah. Wow. And he had Dr. Orwell working with him. That was pretty
mhm.
cool. And he was in drag. That was pretty
That
cool.
honestly a little bit of like gender swap. That's got to be a hijink. A hijinks, you know, like that. Just I feel like it works. Twerk.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now, Slippery Slope.
Ooh.
I don't think he gets credit for the woman with hair but no beard and the man with a beard but no hair plan, which is to kidnap the Snow Scouts and like fly to the last safe space or last safe place. With like the eagles and stuff.
Yeah.
Olaf's plan in Slippery Slope was pushing Violet and Klaus down the mountain and keeping Sunny. That is the plan we are judging on. And I think it's benign and
God
banal.
damn it. It is. It
That's just
works.
murder,
Yeah. Like
honey.
it was but it's not that big of a deal. It really was not deeper than that, and
He
he's not really even the big villain
it
because of
was
the we see the other two like that
right.
fucking torch the VFD headquarters.
Mm-hmm. And so he didn't even like double check to make sure it worked. So benign and banal.
Works for me. That's a benign and banal. Ooh,
Okay.
we're getting to the good ones now.
Okay. Talk
Well,
about
actually, these ones I don't know if they're as
the
easy. What about Ursat's elevator? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I don't know because his thing is less to do with the Baudelaire orphans in this book because he's like they're with Esme. That's as good as
Mm-hmm.
gotten. Um, his real plan because he's like hardly in this book. He's like he's an art auctioneer or something like that, helping Esme plan the inn auction. And their plan is to smuggle out the Quagmire siblings.
Yeah, that's right. The
So
because the Baudelaires aren't even really involved; they're just up at the apartment.
right. They become involved when they try to save the Quagmires, but like Olaf's plan is like they were Esme's in control of them. That's that's fine.
Yeah,
They're gotten.
they got. And I think his
So
other plan of like putting them in the red herring, the VFD, like all of that very good uh little misdirect that they set up with him and Esme.
mhm. Mhm. I hmm.
Is it tame?
I think it's C
Yeah, see
tame.
tame.
I think it's tame.
It's just
Okay.
not like it's because the Baudelaires aren't really the focus. And so yeah,
Right.
I agree.
We're specifically focusing on like his costumes and what he's fucking doing with the Baudelaires.
Absolutely.
So
All right, let's do it in descending order because that'll be the most fun. Penultimate peril.
yeah,
His plan
what's his?
was to burn down the building.
He he kidnaps Justice Strauss.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, they're kind of working
and his
together.
well, his plan is to get the sugar bowl. No.
No, it's the Justice is Blind thing, and he's with like the
Yeah.
fake. I think that would be an outrageous orchestration. like because there's a lot going
Yeah,
on all
to
at
have
once.
yeah, to have the man with the hair but no beard, or
N-
no, the man
A
with
beard,
hair
no
a
hair.
beard but no hair, and the woman with hair and no beard be in there just like the whole
They were
time.
just there, and you wouldn't even
Um,
know.
they're just
They're part of the High
there.
Court.
Yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
I could not believe that. So good. All right.
Okay.
Carnivorous
Next
Carnival.
is again, it's not really about the orphans until like the very end when Madame Lulu reveals that the orphans are um Beverly and Elliot and Chabo. But yeah, trying to feed orphans to
Yeah,
lions and eventually feeding one of your henchmen to a lion, viciously vile.
absolute. There's
Viciously
yeah,
vile.
like they feed him to lions. Like it's it's not his like grand
This is
scheme
a
of plan,
children's
but like
book.
it was a good book for I think Carnivorous Carnival as well as like Hostile Hospital were the two books where we got to kind of see we got a third person point of view of what goes on with the troop and everything.
Right.
So
He feeds a man to lions.
if you
Viciously
feed a man
vile.
to a lion, he'll never eat for a day. If you teach him a lion to eat a man, feed for a whole week.
Yep. Okay. Austere Academy. I think the plan in Austere Academy is a little stupid.
Yeah,
He makes them tired so they fail their classes.
like I
Okay.
would argue that in
Just kidnap some people,
yeah,
man.
like he's really doing the only thing he can do because like in all honesty, the rest of the school is worse. The computer system it prevents him from
Right.
being it'll prevent Olaf from showing up.
Nero's a worse villain than Olaf.
Correct. Ooh. Is it benign and banal?
I think it's benign and banal.
It's not too bad.
He's just doing fucking whatever in this book. He put on a costume because he wanted to, you know? He didn't
He
have
was
to.
he
That
was
computer
working
system
through
wasn't
some
doing jack
stuff,
shit.
you know, making it easy, working.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And then he stole two other orphans.
mm-hmm.
So that was kind of cool.
So,
Yeah.
slay. Slay moment.
Slay Queen, yes.
Okay.
Wide Window.
think I think Wide Window is downright dastardly.
Okay.
He kills Aunt Josephine. The Captain Sham costume is fucking iconic. That peg leg.
Oh, when he's like, please,
He
not getting me on this one.
please. Eye patch, peg leg. He's like, got this. He tried to convince her to commit suicide. That didn't work. He fed her to leeches. Crazy, 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 crazy.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he really did try to get her. That he was like, he was fucked up. I thought that he had like thrown her out of the window, and I'm like, no, no, no. No. She
He threatened.
or didn't she break the window?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, with the fake suicide, and then she's like, let's just live in the cave unless there's real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Cave is first tail.
yeah,
That means there'll be real estate agent. And then he feeds a woman to
in
leeches.
front of the kids. Like that's like.
In front of the kid.
Meanwhile, in the next book, they just get to watch somebody get sliced in half, and we breeze past it.
Yeah, so much shit happens in these books.
Wild.
So many people die. Okay.
Right.
I think Reptile Room might also be downright dastardly.
That was where I was gonna put it. There's straight up. It was the best hope that we ever had. His plan was really fucking good, which was just like I'm gonna threaten the fuck out of the kids until they do what I want, and never give them peace.
Right.
And then when Monty didn't because he didn't, I don't think he planned to kill Monty right away, but it was clear that like until Monty didn't serve a purpose, it was easier to kill him.
Right. I think he was planning on just like escaping with the kids once they got to Peru. And Monty was like, I'm not taking him to Peru.
Yeah.
So he was like, well,
I'm going to Peru.
he's gotta go. He framed the yeah. You're not going to Peru, maybe. Um, but he frames the incredibly deadly viper, almost gets away with it. Almost gets away with it.
So close.
Um,
So close.
he has the hook-handed man, I think, as the coroner.
Mm-hmm. With his fake
Great,
hands. Yeah.
iconic. Mm-hmm. The business with the who's gonna ride in whose car. Uh, that was
That was a
pretty
good, yeah, a
dastardly.
little the who's on first kind of bit. It was
Yeah.
very fun.
So
Yeah.
I'm happy
I'm
with
very
that.
happy with this. This is a good tier list. I think
Olaf plan tier list.
exactly. And then I'll go ahead and copy this to put this here. And I'll take us back to this, and I could put all that good stuff right down here. How exciting! Um,
Mm-hmm.
perfect. It's taken too long. There we go. So with that, that gives us all of our Olaf schemes. I did not expect. Um, I guess I really would have thought the later books would have been higher up on the list, but they're really not. He was really much
But
more evil at
yeah,
I guess halfway through and the end of the
right
beginning.
off the bat, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
crazy,
Crazy. Well,
wild.
part of it.
Okay,
Time
now let's get on
to the awards.
to some awards.
Awards, baby. Okay.
We ranked the best books. We've ranked the best plans, and now for some honorable mentions.
Nope.
The best
Yes.
henchman.
So, best henchman includes anybody that is in Olaf's troop. Uh, I believe. Ooh, oh, that's right. We both had picks for these. I don't know if you remember them,
Mm-hmm.
so
We've
I'll put them. I'll put them up.
no.
So, would you like to share your best, your thoughts on best henchman?
My best henchman is the hench person who looks like neither a man nor a woman. We love to see non-binary representation, especially in children's media. Indoctrinate them while they are
Mm-hmm.
young. They were committed to their cause. They died in the line of service in a way that like the man with like the long nose, the bald
Mm-hmm.
man, did not. He died as a flop. Um,
Yeah,
they are my favorite. They are the best. I give
they're
them
a
this
vibe.
award.
Yeah, MB Pride. You did best henchman. I chose Fernald, the hook-handed man, because originally I also did think the person who looks neither like a man nor a woman. Um, because it was really the tie, like that's where the tie was, because we do get a backstory to Fernald. Like we actually get to realize that like even Olaf's henchmen have a deeper backstory. You know, he's the son of or he's Fiona's stepbrother or whatever. And like son of Captain Wittershins, and like whatever event happened, it caused him to lose his hands, which is why he's like, I guess I'll just like go with Olaf because like what else can I do with my hands? It's a little
Mm-hmm.
sad. It's a little heartfelt, Kokoro, if you will. But yeah, he just gets some screen time.
And even if you
Yeah.
won't. Yeah, he gets probably the most development out of any henchman, besides maybe like Esme.
Yeah. Although is Esme like Esme's and it's like is Esme a henchman technically? I guess depends. What's Olaf need her for?
Go to the next slide and we'll
All
find
right,
out.
we're
Where's henchman?
oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh man, I forgot what we put for these.
Esme's a bitch, and I hate her. She's the only one besides Olaf who's like the kid's guardian who's fucking
Mhm.
evil. Um, we hate her. I hate her outfits. I said it. I don't think she's nearly as fashionable as she thinks she is.
Absolutely not. I think that's part of, like, it's that whole like there she gives me that energy of those like it's the, I don't know how to describe it, like those people who clearly have never had to like actually work or anything, like they're just so in their like upper
Mm-hmm.
middle socioeconomic class kind of thing, where like, because that's her whole thing, is like it's all about what's in and out, like it has
Right.
no concept of like the other shit. They're in the fucking mountains and she's in a flame dress.
It's a banana. How much can it cost, Michael? $10?
Pinstripes. I chose Kevin because there was nothing wrong with
You've
Kevin.
had beef with
There's
Kevin.
nothing wrong with being ambidextrous. Aside from like he never knows which one to use, which like I guess that could be annoying if you don't have a preference, but it does not prevent. And the fact that he finally like he chooses a side because they tie one of his hands behind his back and he goes, well, now I have to have a choice. Cool. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Kevin. He's a little bitch. And I love that he's part of it. He's just like, you every time
He's there to the end,
he's there to
baby.
the end, and every single time a line gets written that comes out of his mouth, you just roll your fucking eyes because it's in he is the least freakish person in, like, if you're gonna go by those standards. Like Hugo has to deal with an actual humpback. Colette is a contortionist, which is, I guess bad.
A
Yeah.
skill.
Like people deal with like real actual things, and then he's like, but I can use both my hands equally good.
I can use both my hands. No, no, no,
Oh
no, no.
no. Yeah,
Shut up,
he's a
Kevin.
bitch. I'm tired of it.
The best guardian. I think we might have did the same one for
I think we
this.
did.
I don't
I think
remember.
it's so Uncle Monty for you.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. The runner up.
Uncle Monty. And then the runner-up Hector from Vile Village.
Yeah, he was the only other one that
He made
really
them chicken
cared,
enchiladas.
like, or tried to,
Yeah,
as best as he could.
yeah.
So,
Uncle Monty is the undefeated champ of Best Guardians, which is why it hurts so much when he gets murdered.
yeah, he genuinely loved the kids and did everything for them, except listen to them.
Well, he did.
Uh, oh,
He
that's
was
right.
like, he was like, if you don't want Stefano to go to Peru with us, he won't go. I'll tear up his ticket right now.
That's right. I guess it was the whole thing was because the kids couldn't talk to him before them. Like that's why it wasn't that he didn't want to listen. It's that they didn't have the safety to talk because like Olaf will just kill them, and
He was right there with a
he
knife.
did, and he like the fact that he did is so crazy. It's,
Iconic.
oh my god, drastic turn. And Hector did his best. He did care. I wish the kids could have gone up in that balloon. Um, Life would be very different.
With the Quagmire siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Worst Guardian, I believe. Oh, perfect. uh,
So my worst guardian was Sir. He's a fucking capitalist pig. He makes the children work. He's awful to his workers. We hate him.
yeah.
I hope he died in the fire in Penultimate Peril and Charles moved on and found another sugar
I
daddy.
hope Charles got that bag. But they were holding hands.
We
So,
support we support gay wrongs, but not Sir.
mhm. Also, way to bury your gays, Lemony. Curious.
Mm.
Maybe they
Mm.
lived. They were on the ninth floor. hmm. Hmm.
Hmm. He was smoking during a fire.
How would he even know the fire's there?
Hmm.
Because there's so much smoke.
Count Olaf, arguably queer, dead.
What the worst? The worst. Although he's just Riz. Aunt Josephine was such a terrible fucking guardian. She,
She sucked ass.
no contest. She literally believed a man she just met. Like, I mean, I guess it's a little bit like taking a step back, is like when people are hurt, they're really easy. Like she was a wounded woman in general who like just any person like is susceptible to that. But like it's scary how easy someone like that can get manipulated, because like that happens in real life too. That being said, faking your death, kind of based. Faking your death to live in a cave on the lake forever? It's a little tired.
It's a little insane. Little out there, Josie.
It's a little bonkers. Yeah.
To assume the children were going to bring food, that you left them a note that said Colonel Cave, and you assumed that they'd realize we are going to live in Colonel Cave for the rest of our lives. Let's bring food and water and everything we will need to live with Aunt Josephine.
How would the kids don't have money? Like, and like there was a fucking storm. The house was starting to crumble. Because does the house fall off the cliff? Yeah. Like they couldn't have done anything anyway. And like she was pissy. She was pissy when they showed up to the cave, and that's the tea.
She was pissy. Then she got on the boat knowing she'd eaten a banana less than half an hour ago. And then she was upset when the leeches started eating her?
I never thought the leeches would eat my face.
Says woman who
bananas.
Eats
and she didn't even think to say something of like, oh wait, shit. Like if all you have to do, it's stupid Aunt Josephine. Bye-bye. Ooh.
Notable side characters, the volunteers fighting disease. I fucking hate them. I find them so personally insulting. The way they're like, we fight disease by making sure people smile. Why don't you smile more, sweetheart? Maybe that'll fix your terminal illness. How about you fucking bite me? That'll do more than you're fucking singing.
Yeah, you're fighting people you're fighting feeling bummed out when you see people who are sick because you're going to make them smile so that they're not sad, so that they don't make you sad.
If you're sick, you're allowed to be upset about it. I've given you permission. No matter what the VFD say.
They were a piece of fucking work. I never thought about it like that, the way you put it. But yeah. Well, in a different vein, Jacques Snicket was my notable side character because although we did not get to see him for long, he, for his brief stint, he is iconic and memorable. He is someone who, oddly enough, looks a bit like Count Olaf. He was involved with Quigley. He was just behind the Baudelaires in the big, like, figuring everything out and working on stuff, and is just a character that, like, I always wanted to know more about. And it's so sad that, like, it was so brief. He was also one of the very few characters that, like, the moment he sees the Baudelaires, he's like, I know you, I love you, I believe you, I'm here for you always. Time for me to die.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye-bye. And yeah, that's who I think. So I think we have
notable in different ways.
That's right.
And here we go. Most villainous. Who is the worst character in all 13 books?
The biggest villain?
You know him. You hate him.
It's
Mr. Poe.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh my god. I wanted to hit the...
What have you done?
I played the MLG horns, so that works, but...
Okay.
Mr. Poe fucking sucks. He's consistently villainous, not out of malice, but out of carelessness. And like
out of his own personal greed. Vice President of Orphan Affairs. You don't care about these kids beyond what they do for you in your corporate mobility.
And like how it affects him, which is insane. If you think their money is just sitting in an account because now it's in like a trust or whatever. Well, I guess that's what they do. They play and speculate with your money. And like the fact that he got promoted to like vice president of orphan affairs because there's so many orphans that need to be dealt with is an insane concept to fathom. And fuck Mr. Poe, fuck Mr. Poe's wife, fuck her stupid fucking sweaters. They were itchy and gross. Mr. Poe never actually cared. And if he did, he literally believes Count Olaf like at least 80 to 90% of the time. He falls for it.
He would rather believe, he's so adamant about not believing the orphan, the Baudelaire children, that he will believe any adult over them, no matter how long he's known them and how suspicious they're acting. And that's so insulting. It's
He
like,
doesn't respect the kids.
you fucked up the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. You're not learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, like it's like, well, this is the only person we could find because like, you know, the closest, like following it to like the legal letter and like allowing this to happen and then starting to put the blame on the kids. You know, it's
right. He's like, no, it's getting harder to take you. No one wants such troublemakers. And it's like, they're not making trouble.
They're making trouble for you.
They're being hunted for sport.
Yeah, and they are for money.
Making a lot of paperwork.
I think that everybody has a Mr. Poe, you know, at some point in their life. Where they just don't like it. I think it's one of those secret villains that I know we talked about a lot where it became more apparent that like, you know, should you believe kids fully at their word? I think you should listen to people and kids are people.
We're not asking you to believe the kids when they say they saw a dragon at school today. We're asking them to believe kids when they say repeatedly, this adult is making me uncomfortable. I don't feel safe around.
Yes. Oh, or at the very least, the not the very least, the gross negligence that a lot of people fall into, which is, well, that sounds unbelievable, so I won't investigate it. Or else go, are you Olaf? No. See? Why would they lie? They're not Olaf. Olaf would lie.
Right.
Like some weird, like the reasons don't even track. They don't make sense. And fuck Mr. Poe.
Fuck Mr.
Fuck
Poe.
Mr. Poe.
Fuck Mr. Poe.
And that's it. That's
it. We end on the note of fuck Mr.
Fuck Mr. Poe. Any closing statements? This is a very long episode. But
yeah. Beyond fuck Mr. Poe? No. I've said my piece.
Yeah, me too. Fuck Mr. Poe.
Yeah.
He sucks ass. Well, thank you everybody for watching it to here. If you are here, I appreciate you. Kale, I'm sure does too, and I'll take those back out.
Yeah, I think we deserve. I'm not grateful. We deserve everyone who's made it this far. I'm kidding.
No, it's a mood.
Yeah, this has been it's an incredible project to have now completed.
And I guess all we have to do is hit stop recording and summer's over. So.
Summer's over, baby. Time to move on to fall.
Oh no. I hope we don't fall until it's tough. It's tough in fall. It gets dusk earlier. You're stuck in that twilight zone, and I don't know about all that. We'll vibe.
What if I?
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.